it's important that individuals have an understanding of what we call the plan of salvation. That there was a premortal existence. We did accept the plan of our Heavenly Father there. We come to earth so that we can obtain bodies, learn from physical experiences, go through life and all the pain and challenges and transgressions and everything that life has, and die, and then return to our Heavenly Father. That's the plan.
When most of us think of Mormonism, common sweeping images come to mind. We may think of famous people who are Mormon, but how many of us actually know or understand what Mormons actually believe in? How does Mormonism deal with the problem of evil? To understand the Mormon view on evil in modern day society, we have to journey back to the beginning. In the beginning, Mormons believed there was a great war in heaven. In this war, once born into mortality, God's spirit children had to choose between two plans. The first plan, designed by God and supported by God's eldest Son, Jesus Christ, held that humans would be free to choose between good and evil. The second plan was designed by Lucifer, another of God's children and brother to Jesus. This second plan involved Lucifer forcing all humans to choose good over evil. But in return for saving all of God's children, Lucifer wanted God's throne and glory. A third of God's spirit children sided with Lucifer, and they were cast out of God's presence and denied any chance to be born into mortality. Lucifer became known as Satan, and he and his angels actively tempt mortals to choose evil. However, it's important to note, Mormons do not actually believe that Satan is the founder or the source of evil. The story of the war in heaven is based on the idea that evil existed before the war, and even before Satan.
The greatest insight that we have relative to the plan of salvation and the premortal existence would be that there was a war in heaven, and that Satan was the one who provided or proposed an opposing plan, and really that's for us in our faith. That's the origin.
Okay.
Is there? Did it exist prior to that? Probably. To some degree, we don't know. We just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any. The revelation and the information that we have on the premortal life is not very extensive as a faith, and so we don't know beyond the war, or what we classify or call the war in heaven.
But how does Mormonism propose that our generation handle the evil that the world throws at us?
That's a very good question, and I think that young people in the world today have greater challenges than when I was their age. You have, because of technology, you have certainly more distractions than we ever had that would cause to lead a person away from Christ or away from their faith. And so, for us, what we would teach, or what we do teach in our faith, is that it's important that individuals. This is only a segment of our existence, a very important one. It's critical. We're able, because of the physical body, able to learn and grow and experience things more profoundly and directly than apparently we could have if we were just in a spiritual existence. And so it's a growing, learning, experiential kind of thing for us to encounter throughout our existence. But we teach our young people, that you have agency, you can choose, and choices matter. And if they keep an understanding of the plan of salvation in mind, that this life is not the end, that we'll be accountable after this life, and whatever we do here does matter, then that seems to help govern the way that we live, the things that we do, how we interact with people, how we try and avoid sin or transgression or evil.
How does Mormonism explain the evil that accompanies natural disaster?
Tsunamis or volcanoes or earthquakes or hurricanes, tornadoes, any kind of natural disasters like that, to just be part of life experiences. We don't look at them necessarily as because of sin or transgression, of a nation or a people. We would look at it more as in keeping with physical law. We would suggest that the earth and the world abides by some kind of governing law or principles, and that, if there's a slip in a subterranean disk that creates an earthquake someplace, that's just a natural consequence of some physiological law, that's going to happen. Gravity's law. And what is more important is not that that event took place, but more important how we react or act upon that. For example, we would look at those kinds of things as very challenging, very hard, very difficult things. A lot of sadness, a lot of trauma goes into those kinds of events. But on the other side, we'd look at it and say, okay, how can we help? How can we render service? How can we provide relief, comfort, help? Be Christ-like in ministering to those who are in need. And to us, that would be an important element of dealing with those kinds of events. We don't necessarily look at them as God, saying, I told you children once, if you don't shape up, I'm going to whip you into shape. We don't look at it as that way. We don't look at it as God demeaning man. But they are certainly occurrences that help us, I think, help mankind understand its place in the world. And that, if we are straying away from what our Heavenly Father would have us be, that serves as a good reminder.